All right, aloha, Tulsi Kratz, Bernie Kratz, radical independents, and those of you who are just political refugees and completely disaffected from, any political party. This is a group called the Harris Company. This is the No Labels New Hampshire poll. It was conducted online within the state of New Hampshire from September 6th through the 11th. 2019 among 595 new New Hampshire Democrats. Now, I did a video last week where I said Tulsi Gabbard was at 8% in one poll, this listener poll, which I thought was quite interesting and had some interesting data. I didn't get too deep into that, but you can go look this up. There's a lot of information about this. The survey explores the opinions of likely Democratic and Independent primary voters on what is necessary to solve problems in today's polarized political climate. That's very interesting. It's not a tribalist survey. It's not a survey about how much people hate Donald Trump. It also assesses their candidate and the preferences that they have for the New Hampshire primary. 595 likely voters. Likely voters. That's important too. The sample of likely voters is filtered from a sample of 1,003 New Hampshire registered voters who were weighted for gender, age, congressional district, race, ethnicity, education, and political party where necessary to align them with their actual proportions in the population. So the methodology here is fairly meticulous. The sampling margin of error for likely voters is plus or minus 4 percentage points. The sampling margin of error for registered voters is plus or minus 3 percentage points. Key findings, they go into key findings. They say the race in New Hampshire is fluid. Biden at 22, Sanders at 21. Poll I just did had Sanders at 29. Elizabeth Warren at 15. So she's definitely behind both Biden and Sanders. These are the only three candidates with double-digit support. Now, it gets very interesting when I'm going to go down to the whole list. Here it is. Look who's in fourth place. Tulsi Gabbard is in fourth place in New Hampshire. Okay, I'm going to go up to the top here. Key findings summary, No Labels New Hampshire primary study. This isn't some random CNN poll where there's an outfit, begging CNN to do a poll and to put money into it. This was conducted online, which is not your typical landline, is anybody home? We're going to only call people with phones in their houses, which these days is very low. The sample of voters is filtered from a sample of 1,003 registered voters who were weighted for gender, age, congressional district, race, ethnicity, education, political party. Seems fairly scientific. Among registered voters, 95% of Democrats and 77% of independents say they are likely or very likely to vote. There you go. First choice, Biden, 22, Sanders, 21, Warren, 15, Gabbard at 6. Tulsi Gabbard's in fourth place in New Hampshire based on what this poll is saying. And even if this poll isn't 100% accurate in some regard, it seems much more scientific. It's polling people online. It's asking questions people can stop and think about it and answer the question. Look at everybody below. Amy Klobuchar, who's in the debate tonight, is at 1%. Beto O'Rourke, who's in the debate tonight, is at 1%. All right? It's lunacy. It's complete lunacy. Tulsi, look at this. I'm just going to highlight this. This is just there you go. Tulsi Gabbard in 4th place with 6%. Now you'd say, well, it's only 1% ahead of Kamala. All right. It's pretty astonishing. Now they do a little ranked choice voting here, which is interesting, but the first choice really is astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing. And you know what? The Democratic Party ought to be ashamed of itself, because this demonstrates to me that they're more concerned about the war machine, keeping the war machine going, than actually promoting a candidate who wants to shut it down. All right. Now, I know Sanders is, again, an ally, and I don't want to discount the fact that he's at 21 here and doing well, and Biden is collapsing basically everywhere and in every poll. Unfortunately, he still has a lot of support, but to see Kamala Harris below Tulsi Gabbard, Mayor Pete, who they, MSNBC was the Mayor Pete channel, I think, back in April or May of this year. Cory Booker, who at the outset was the candidate to beat. I mean, he was declaring way before everybody else. It's interesting that Tulsi is crushing Andrew Yang in this poll, too. You know why? Because Andrew Yang has the same foreign policy views as these other candidates. Talk about UBI all day long, but if you want to go bomb more brown and black people so we can get cheap oil and, do things that really our government has no business doing in other countries, none of it is keeping us safe. Also, I think Andrew Yang is kind of a Russian hoaxer, and the whole free speech thing is up in the air with him. And I know Tulsi Gabbard believes in free speech. Democratic and independent voters, and these are the kind of voters that love Bernie Sanders and they love Tulsi Gabbard, and look at 2nd place and 4th place. If you look at the organization Tulsi Gabbard has, now she has a pretty good organization in New Hampshire, but overall, her organization compared to the top 3, it's like she's running on a shoestring budget. That's another thing that nobody's going to talk about. Kamala Harris, Mayor Pete. I don't think there's a fundraiser that Mayor Pete doesn't like. Same with Cory Booker. All right. It's interesting, though, that on the debate stage tonight is Amy Klobuchar and Beto O'Rourke, both at 1% in New Hampshire. So there you have it. I'm putting this video out as Tulsi Gabbard in 4th place in New Hampshire, just to, rattle the establishment. And we'll see what our friends over at Google do with this one. All right, see you soon.